Hi guys, Ronnie here and welcome to the workshop. As always, today's video is going to be a bit more personal and I'm going to address one question that I get asked quite a lot, and that is, why do I spend so much time, money and energy on cycling and on cycling equipment? Is it even worth it, and how do I do it, or how do I manage it? Well, there are three reasons I do this. The first one is, and if you're watching this channel then you probably like this as well, I just like having the nice stuff and the good stuff I always have. Back when I raced motocross, I basically had the same high level of equipment, and yeah, I'm just a technical type of person, so it gives me kind of a satisfaction. And to be honest, I don't really spend too much on anything else. I don't have designer clothes, I don't go to fancy restaurants and hotels, I don't buy expensive cars, I don't have or don't spend too much on housing. I just, this is my hobby and this is where I put all my effort into. The second one is, it's kind of related, but well, when I started cycling it was nothing more than a hobby really. But then I got deeper and deeper into it. I decided to want to be good at it, so I really started putting more time and effort into the training itself and started paying more attention. And if you dedicate your time to that, you don't really want your results to be spoiled by having bad equipment. Cycling is a technical sport, so if you don't have appropriate equipment, you can't win. Obviously it's 99% the rider, but you still need that 1% to make it stick. And yeah, when I go to races, I hear people complaining oftentimes that my bike doesn't really suit this course, I couldn't change this, I didn't change that, this is in bad shape. I just don't want myself to be able to afford such, should I say, excuses. I just really want the result to be dependent only on me. So if I get proper equipment, then yeah, I have no excuse. It's all dependent on my skill and fitness really. And then the third and equally important reason, I started liking cycling so much that, well, it became a big part of my life, and at that point I decided that hey, I could actually make some money out of this. And so I started a business. Many of you have asked, what job do I do to afford this kind of equipment? Well, you don't have to necessarily look at life as many people just think that getting a job is the only way to earn a living. Well, it's not. These days you can learn or earn a living by anything if you're just really good at it. So that's exactly what I try to do. I try to try every piece of equipment, try to find and learn every piece of information, and yeah, just generally I try to be a lot more knowledgeable than the people in other bike shops. Especially in this area or in this market, there aren't many people who are really in second nature with the sort of high-end equipment that I use, and that has allowed me to gain some good advantages and good connections. If you go back to my videos that I've done last year, you can notice that back then I've changed, well, something on the bikes basically every week. But now my setups are pretty dialed and I rarely ever touch them apart from regular maintenance. So but through this learning period, I learned what I like on my setups, what other people like, what works, what doesn't. And yeah, that has allowed me to transform these experiences into useful work, basically. So I can actually advise people so they're happy with the equipment that I put them on. So back to these fancy bikes themselves. Are they worth it? Is it really worth spending time, money and effort dialing them in? Well, that depends. I like saying that a fast bike can't make you fast in absolute terms, but it can make you fast in relative terms, as in compared to yourself. So if someone beats you by 2 minutes in a time trial, then possibly it's not the bike's fault. But if they beat you by 2 seconds, and it's maybe because you haven't done your chain properly, or your tires weren't the good choice, or not the proper pressure, or etc., something was wrong with your bike, then it's going to piss you off big time. And one of the reasons why I go through these depths in preparing my bikes is exactly that. I've won basically every time trial that I've entered since May of last year, so that's almost a year now. And on many occasions I won just by a couple of seconds. And at that point I was really glad that I did all I could to improve my position, my kit choices, not necessarily the most expensive, most bling components, but the ones that actually work for you. And some people say, well, it's easy for me because I have all this and that, but they don't realize that, I've done work that they haven't done. I've done work on the bike, but off the bike as well. So firstly, because now I'm able to afford all this, so that's a lot of work. And secondly, that I actually know what to choose to be able to compete and be successful. And also try all this stuff, get used to that, get used to the position, dial that in, get used to the handling of the bike, etc. And that's all work, and some people just don't realize that, You can buy everything you want. You can have a bike 5 times as expensive as this, and it won't be of no use. So yeah, as I said, it's a technical sport as well, and what I really like about it is it's about the mind, not just the body. And the nice thing is that work that you put in, that you translate into your setup, is actually quantifiably, makes you faster relative to yourself, is what I'm trying to say. Because in motorsport, that's what I've done previously. You can have a super high-end bike, hugely powerful, good brakes, good suspension, etc. But if you don't have the skill and talent to use it, you're going to be as slow as on a regular bike. With bicycles, if you put a slow rider on a fast bike, again, I would say he's going to be faster relative to himself. So that's the main point. Okay, so I think that's enough for today. Well, I want to bring you next, there have been requests about my training. Well, what do I do in preparation for different kinds of events? So I'm planning to do something on that. There's been some requests on riding footage, so as you can see, I'm already working on that. And yeah, there's actually some new tech coming to the workshop this or the next week, so if you want to see any of that, stay tuned. It's off today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.